Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. It's Saturday evening and this evening we are talking newspapers. The reason we're doing that is because I actually bought a newspaper today. I bought the little local paper thinking I would find out stuff. And when I had gone to the checkout, the girl's like, do you know, they're so much thinner now than they used to be. Like, yep. And she said she'd heard that, 15 years there'll be no more newspapers. And we're both looking at each other going, yeah, it's not going to take that long. That's the first newspaper I think I've bought since I was on holiday in March. And it's only because it was a local one. And as I was driving back from the shop, I was thinking to myself, well, apart from the local news, because I saw the headline on the main papers, the national papers, and they were talking about the IT glitch that had closed down so many things. And you're like, well, no point in me reading about that today, is there? I needed the information yesterday, which obviously we got from the news sites, the websites, etc., etc. So I was trying to think, so what earthly good are newspapers now? Who's still reading them? And why are we still reading them? And it was when I was looking at it and I thought, well, actually, for some people, it's quite nice, me included. I do quite like it to, instead of having the information, instead of hearing the information all the time. And it's quite quick because I noticed yesterday when I was at work about the IT glitch. Everything had gone, oh my goodness, there's this huge IT glitch. By 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, all we were hearing about is the poor souls that were in the airports and stuck for hours. I was like, that's not actually what I want to know. I don't particularly care about that. I care more about, are the banks still safe? Am I still going to be able to get cash out? Is the shopping system still working? Is the NHS working? Is the doctors working? Is the pharmacists working? That was what I was bothered about. I didn't want to be seeing news reports ad infinitum about the queues in airports. But that's what we got because that was a good visual. But the newspapers do give you a more considered opinion from some of the reporters in some of the big stories. Certainly for my local paper, it was bought over by a much bigger Scottish paper. So I think you're lucky if there's one reporter up here now in this area. It's just pathetic. It's just so much lost information wise about the local area. So yeah, 15 years. Do we think? Do we think the papers are going to last that long? I genuinely don't think so. I think what might happen is you might get more opinions on websites or something, or podcasts. But I think websites possibly because people do absorb information in different ways, and I very much absorb information by reading. I am really, really good at that. Listening, yes, I'm not too bad at, but sometimes I think you forget that quite quickly. Kathleen is the opposite. She doesn't absorb by reading, she absorbs by listening. And we found that out because when we were talking about stuff at school when she was young, she picked it up quicker from me talking about it to her than she did from reading the book. Possibly dyslexia had something to do with that, but you know what I mean. People absorb information in different ways. So I do think there's still a requirement for written information, but I don't think there's very much of a requirement for printed on a bit of paper information that's past. I think that is definitely going to come into people having it on websites and things on their phones. So yeah, but I just thought that was an interesting thing. It was quite interesting to see, newspapers. Yeah, they're reporting about the IT outage that happened yesterday. That's All right, still on the news today, but not nearly as much. Excuse me. And if you were affected yesterday, not today. So, yeah, let me know what you think. I am now going to go and have my cup of tea, and I will catch you later.